It was the summer of 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic was raging, and I had given up on doing any internships that year. Every program I had applied to was canceled. But then in my email, I received an urgent message inviting me to apply for the Joseph Smith Papers, which was still accepting applicants. I submitted an application, I was accepted, and suddenly I was thrust into this world of documentary editing, working for the Joseph Smith Papers project, a project to help make primary source documents about Joseph Smith available to the public and to scholars. It seemed to me a sacred opportunity to work for the church history department and learn more about the founding prophet of my faith as a Latter-day Saint. I had a few different projects I worked on as an intern. I wanted to talk about them in connection to the skills we learn in the humanities. One of my earliest was to follow up on a footnote that my supervisor, Dr. Ashurst McGee, was curious about. He had seen this footnote in a paper he was using for some of his research, and he wanted to know more about the original source. I went on a search, but was unsuccessful in finding it. I kind of said to him offhand, the only idea I have left is to find the original author of the paper and just ask him. And Dr. Ashurst McGee said, what a great idea. I went off on another wild chase, phoning and emailing 3 different historical societies until I finally found one whose director was familiar with the author, and he got him and Dr. Ashurst McGee in touch. This was a lesson in communication. I got to apply the skills I had learned in the humanities in representing myself and my organization well. Additionally, I always had to make an implicit argument every time I met someone to make a case for why they should trust me with information about their society's members. My next assignment after this was to make a comprehensive bibliography about the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible. No big deal. It's only 150 years of time for people to write things in. Here, what came in the humanities skill of reading well. I had to learn read efficiently, but also meaningfully, read thoroughly, but also quickly. In the end, I was able to make a 22-page document of over 240 sources. And using this document, Dr. Ashurst McGee looked at it, was happy, and he said, great, now can you make an annotated bibliography with just the 10 best sources? Here came in again, information literacy with being able to identify patterns in the information and pick up the most relevant, the most unique, the most impactful sources. I've narrowed it down to 10, and thankfully that was a much faster process than making the original 240. Finally, I want to end on a note about cultural navigation. People often say that the past is a different country, and that's both true and false. On the one hand, it's our past, it's part of who we are. But on the other hand, things have changed a lot. Things are different. The Joseph Smith I got to know through the Joseph Smith Papers was a little bit different from the one I knew as a kid. But at the same time, he was also more human, more relatable. He was one whose paper trail was well worth following. As students of the humanities, I know that we can not only help people cross cultural gaps across space, but also across time.